It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright, alright. Hey, you know they're all the same. You know doing better on your own. So don't buy in. Just live right now. Just be yourself. It doesn't matter if it's good enough for someone else. It just takes some time. Everyone, we're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright, alright. It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head you feel left out or looked down on. Just try your best, try your best, try everything you can, everything you can. Don't you worry what those bitter hearts are gonna say. It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. It just takes some time. Everyone, we're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Hilltop.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Good to have you all here. And I want to say a special hello to those of you out in the video world. I want to say especially hello to Colorado and Missouri and Oregon. Thank you guys for being on. It's good to have you guys with us today. And for you guys here today, wherever you are, however you got here, whoever you are, and whatever any of that means on your spiritual path, we're just thrilled and you are welcome here. So let's do down the big announcements first, because we got a lot of things going on before we go in. It looks like the bus just got here, so we'll let that go. So I think there's slides, and there are slides. They're just behind you. So I don't see them, but you guys can see them. No, you guys can't see them either? I guess I could look and see. Yeah, there's something there, but I don't see them on the back there. So let me see what's going on. Okay, tell me when they change. So right now we've got Welcome to Sunday Service. It's good to have you here. And the next thing coming down the line is my talk today. I'm talking today. You're right, I am talking today. Today we are in the beginning of our new quarterly theme, which is a new creation, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we join in and move forward with that. But in the meantime, there's a couple things coming down the road for you to know. The first is there they are. That is that after Sundays on the fourth Sunday of the month, which is this Sunday, about 10 minutes after service, we grab a little bite to eat. We have a little time to be with me, and it's an opportunity if you want to ask anything. It's unscripted, which for my little ADD mind is just a delight. I get to go off leash. So anything you want to talk about, we bring it up to the group, and off we go. So that's happening today. And next Sunday, I'm very excited. Or not next Sunday. I can't see Steve because that TV screen is not on. Oh, Magdalena is the next one. So the next thing we've got is Mantras with Magdalena, and that happened today, as a matter of fact. And the next thing will happen is October 19th, and it's an opportunity to get together and do some chanting, a little mantra stuff before service. It's a nice way to just kind of ground yourself and settle yourself in with that. And then the next thing is, oh yes, not determinism versus free will. It's not like we're going to have a debate, but we're going to have a conversation. I guess it's fated to be that way.
Is it?
So Jim, whose new book is being released this month, next week,
October 15th.
October 15th, which is like next month, but like in a couple days.
Weeks.
So Jim's book is being published on October 15th, and so he and I are going to have a conversation next Sunday on the conversation of determinism and then also the idea of free will. So it'll be an interesting exchange of ideas on that, and that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward. It's always good to spend time with Jim on something like that. So that's happening. And then the next thing that's happening is next Sunday, also after service, on the first Sunday of the month, our book club of the Lord of the Rings. So we've just basically started that. So we're still in the first book, The Fellowship of the Ring. So anybody that wants to join us, it's a lively and fun conversation. And we're going to be discussing from Rivendell to the end of the book, which I won't say any more about that. But it's a fun thing, and anybody that knows me knows I'm a Tolkien nerd, so that's happening. So on October 11th is Fairview Canon. If you've not heard these guys before, they just rock the house. And I'm going to ask Liz to give some information about that coming up. Thank you.
Fairview Canyon is great. If you haven't heard them, they play a lot of 60s and 70s, kind of my generation music, Crosby, Stills, Nash. Very mellow, a beautiful way to spend an afternoon. So please join us 3 to 5. Tickets are very inexpensive, $20, and you get a free drink with that. Andrea is going to be in Star Hall. She is going to be selling tickets. You can also do it online. A part of the newsletter has a lot of different ways that you can order. So tell your friends. We really want to fill up the house. It's a great, great concert. Please enjoy.
Yeah, those guys are incredible. Yeah,
They are.
absolutely.
They are pretty
The
remarkable.
harmonies, it's so human. Yeah.
I'm not going to forget it. We're just talking about how fabulous they are. And as an added bonus, after service this Sunday and next Sunday, Andrea's going to be selling some raffle tickets to the concert. Someone very generously bought some tickets and have given us the opportunity to raffle them off. So she'll have a table set up in Star Hall, and you can buy tickets and win valuable gifts. Like, how much are they? They're $5 for two. That's a deal, yeah. Two. What a deal! What a deal! Yeah. So that's what's happening there. Youth and family is down the hall. If you got kids, that's going on. And let's see what else is going on. So yes, Meredith has something to say. Here, take this. But they can't hear you online. And they may travel.
Well, I want to invite you again to our Thanksgiving feast. So for those of you who weren't here last time I announced, last year we had about 90 people who participated. And it will be the Sunday before Thanksgiving, which, if memory serves, is like the 23rd or the 24th. So we invite everybody to bring their favorite dish, and the board is going to have a gift for everyone to say how much we appreciate having you be a member of our congregation. So we're also looking for artists who would like to donate items, and we're going to have a little pre-Christmas sale for you. So there'll be some things from both the bookstore and from the local artists in our community that you'll have the opportunity to purchase, and all proceeds will go to the center. So we look forward to seeing you. Next Sunday, we'll have a sign-up sheet so that you can put down. We don't want to have all green bean salads or green bean casseroles. So we'll give you an opportunity to sign up and tell us what you're going to bring, and we will be prepared. This time, I hope we get over 125 people here. Invite your friends. It's a wonderful time to feel the community of our center.
So then we got the usual things that are happening. The first is Jim does Sunday school or Sunday Unschool every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, Wellbeing and the Tao. Anything you want to say about that? I sound like I'm echoing here.
Little hot on Red's microphone there, Steve.
So anyway, anything you want to say about Wellbeing and the Tao?
It's a lot of fun. We really have some fascinating discussions that are informed by all the people that are there. So if you'd like to come by, it's a lot of fun, and it'll give you some insights into a very different worldview of reality. So it's a lot of fun.
Always a good thing to do. Then also, Open Mind Gift Shop is open after service. It's good to always check out. It's a great place to get your incense. There's also some really fun things in there as well. So do check that out. Most important thing is Ministry of Prayer. So if your heart has been touched in any way this week, please do not leave without the benefit of prayer. You can do that a couple ways. The first, you can see one of the practitioners that are here today, Liz, Terry, Paul, Andrea. Just walk up to any one of them, or Craig, and just walk up to any one of them and ask them for prayer. They'd be more than happy to pray for you or pray with you. You can also fill out a prayer request in the narthex, and the practitioners get together and pray every Friday morning, and we would love to include you in our prayer. Or about 5 or 10 minutes after service, Craig will be running a prayer circle in the Emerson room. So there's lots of ways that you can do, or you can make an appointment with any one of us for spiritual counseling. So that's going on as well. I think that's all the things that you need to know, except the question of the day. So the question of the day is this: have you had, and if so, when, an experience where beauty stopped you in your tracks? A moment where beauty stopped you in your tracks. Any takers up here? All righty.
I had the good fortune to be present for the birth of each of my children, and there's just no way of describing that. It's just such a surreal moment that definitely stopped me in my tracks.
I'm going to do a continuation of that because when I thought of the question, I went straight to my 16-year-old son in the living room explaining some advanced quantum physics notion to me, and I'm just there. Most of it's going over my head, or I'm a nerd too, so I love to talk about that stuff. But just when he starts to blow my mind with the stuff he's learned and ponders, I just think of all the great thinkers and teachers that went into the history of him getting to that point, and that just stops me in my tracks.
Fabulous. And Craig, I forgot to say good morning to you. How are you, buddy?
Good morning,
Good
Reverend
morning.
Guy.
Do you want to tackle the question?
I do. It's not so much a tackle either. I really like that question. And to be honest, I think that's what I aspire to do every day, is be stopped in my tracks, to have a sense of awe and wonder. Certainly some days I totally forget that. But like you, Jim, I was present for the birth of both of my daughters, and I had the honor of witnessing my father transition. But to be honest, there was one experience that just came to my mind, and it'll always be there. The other thing is sometimes I forget these transcendent, sort of surreal, awe-inspiring moments, but this one I'll never forget, and that was probably like 1980, and I took one of those small, two-winged, two-engine planes from Orcas Island in the San Juans, and I was going over all the San Juan Islands on a summer day, and I was looking down at the beauty of the ocean and these islands just popping up out, and it looked otherworldly, and I just thought, this is like something I would dream out of another world. And perhaps that was also colored by the fact that I was on the way to see a very special spiritual teacher, but that will always stick in my mind.
Beautiful. All right. Anybody out here? Anybody? When and how has beauty stopped you in your tracks?
I feel like this is going to be a repeat because the first thing I went to, my kids, my grandkids, and a great-granddaughter who continue to bring me love and joy. I mean, that's, if you didn't get to experience that, so I'm right there with you guys.
Hi, I'm Liz. There's so many. Like, I don't know who said it, but it's almost every day that I feel some form of beauty or awe, or I try to. I think two things really pop in. The first time I saw the Grand Canyon, both during the day and the Milky Way at night, and I thought, wow, the stars show. And someone said, it's always there. It's just you live in a city and the lights dim it. And another time when I soloed an airplane and birds were flying at the same altitude or pitch that I was, and I truly felt bird-like.
Beautiful. All right. Anyone else?
It was an interesting journey when I was heading to Malaysia. And I was in a jet, and as we were flying over Japan area, the entire outside of the clouds, there must have been about 3,000 or 4,000 lightning strikes. Wow. Literally, we were flying right through them, and you could just see the lightning go from one cloud to the other, up and back. It had me totally mesmerized. It was amazing.
I'm fortunate to live where there are many palm trees. And from the very first time I walked in and I saw some of the big fronds hanging over, I have always said, there's angels watching over me.
Beautiful. All right, anyone else? Oh, Magdalena's right there, and Sherry's there too.
I was on a ship in the southern hemisphere, and they turned out all the lights on the upper deck. It was full of astronomers there anyway. And we climbed up these ladders and sat up there, and I just was so stunned by all these billions of stars that I just sat down with my binoculars and sat there for a couple hours once in a while, lifting the binoculars and looking at certain areas, but it was just mind-blowing that there was all that out there that we never see. But I got to see it that night.
I think Magdalena, yep.
It's interesting. At first I was going to say Sunset, but then I started thinking of like Prince playing the Super Bowl halftime in 2007, or Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey dancing at the end of Dirty Dancing, and Snodham Carr playing, Ong Namo on the stage at Barcelona. Just for me, it was like the whole visual, but the music, the music, the beauty of all of it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Anyone else?
My cat. That's all I have to say, my cat.
That's all you have to say.
We were on a sailboat in Australia, little tiny island with nobody on it. We were parked there, and sitting on the back swim ladder with a friend of mine at night, and we stuck our feet in the water and then pulled them up, and just a waterfall of light came from the phosphorescence. So as the water fell off our feet, it just was like light. It was just amazing.
Beautiful.
And of course, we had to do it many times, but it was just amazing, the amount of phosphorescence there, and it was a gift.
Beautiful. Anyone else? Yep, Larry. Or Clay.
I once spent the night in the desert and watched a meteor shower, and it was a huge meteor shower because 5 falling stars and shooting stars are going off every minute. So it's like a light show all night long, and that really was mesmerizing.
Yeah.
Well, my 2 daughters constantly amaze me, and of course meeting Karen 35 years ago and every day. But something that happened, I first thought of this question currently, and yesterday we had to go over and get a suit for me because we're going to be attending our granddaughter's wedding here next month. And the young man who waited on us was just a light. It was just amazing. I don't think this kid has ever had a negative thought in his life. He was just a bright, shining light, made the whole experience perfect, found a perfect suit and everything else. And I was just constantly amazed at how this young man was so full of joy and shared it with us.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, I'll say
Paul,
something.
there's one more back here. Paul, Marilyn. Oh, Karen, then Marilyn.
Okay. Oh, there were so many. My daughter's 59th birthday was yesterday, and she literally changed my life. When I saw her, it was like the whole world just changed for me, and it's been like that ever since.
Wow.
Beautiful. But the other one I wanted to mention was when I went to Brazil, and I was with a group of people, and we sort of went off on our own, and I decided to climb this little mountain, and it was sort of like a jungle that I was going through, and all of a sudden, in a clearing, was a white horse just standing there in the middle of nowhere. And I just stopped in my tracks. I just stood there, and I think I must have stood there for 15 minutes, and we just kept locking eyes. It was really beautiful.
Fabulous. All right, Marilyn. Marilyn. Or the friend, or the person next to Marilyn.
Hi, my name's Anne, and it's a little bit different than what everyone else has said, but I live in Rainbow, and there's a lot of birds where I live. And one morning I woke up, and there was always crows, but this particular morning, it kind of woke me up. They're just like crows, just like loudly all around, kind of in a circle. And I didn't know this, but someone told me they were having a funeral for one of their crows. And it went on for probably like 15, 20 minutes. And I walked out there, and there was just different crows just leaving, and then more come. And, it was pretty awesome, I thought.
Cool. All righty. With that.
Anyone else?
So let's thank everybody. These are some fabulous. I'm reminded one of my favorite quotes is Kurt Vonnegut, who says, "We are the mud that gets to get up and look around. Lucky us, lucky mud." What a great experience. But these are wonderful images just to kind of hold the stars and crows and births and conversations and lightning and everything else. It's fabulous. So taking all that energy, Craig, why don't you lead us into an invocation and begin service for us?
Thank you, Reverend Guy. Yeah, and I appreciate this time where we all get to share it. It just broadens the whole experience. So yeah, I'm Craig Losey. I am excited always and honored always to be here and to welcome you to the Hilltop Spiritual Center. And as Reverend Guy says, whatever your path is, you're not only welcome, but really you're embraced. We're here to just inspire and support you, whatever your faith tradition is. I always like to recognize that this is a sacred gathering, and so do so with a prayer. And in doing so, I invite you, whatever is your practice, to go within. Perhaps like I like to close my eyes, because when I close my eyes, my attention immediately goes inward. And what I know is within each of us, as resides in every living form, there is a presence and a power that is beyond our imagination. Yet I know it is apprehensible. It is felt through the heart. So let yourself relax. Let this body of yours, which is really your sacred temple where your spirit resides, let it relax where you're sitting. Let yourself also just feel that your feet are on the ground, terra firma. That which just nourishes all life is supporting each of us right now. We're connected. We're grounded in this earth, and our bodies relax. And we take into this body that which nourishes us, which is the breath. So please, just let yourself receive life through the breath, and then let go. Each breath coming in is nourishment, really, from the divine, the source of all. Each exhale is like a blessing we give, a letting go. And so as we arrive, as we are present in this moment, we just acknowledge that we are here because there is something so gracious and present everywhere that it has brought us into being. It has given us this body. This body, which, as I have said, is the very temple of our soul. And so we're just grateful to be alive. We are also grateful to acknowledge that as we have been given this body, we have been given life, a mind capable of thought and imagination, a heart to feel, and all of these senses to take in this beauty of this world. So we acknowledge this power, and we know just by the fact that we exist, that we're a part of it, that all of life is the outward expression of this power that cannot be named. It has so many names, and yet it's beyond names. I'll call it God, just for convenience. So we recognize that God is present here, and that somehow, miraculously, we are a part of God, whether we're even aware of that. We bring that into our consciousness now, that we are a part of something much greater than us. And it is what connects us to each other as we come in unity, and it connects us to all life. And so we're just grateful for that. We're also grateful as we come together, we bring together something greater than us, and I know it is just communicated through the words of Reverend Guy, through the music of Jim and Lee, and also just through all that we have shared and we continue to share. We come with intention to bring about inspiration and insight. And so I'm grateful for this, and I release this, letting it be. And so it is. Reverend Guy just mentioned that we're beginning sort of a new chapter of exploration for this quarter, really following sort of the Hebrew calendar, that this is a new year. Even though it's autumn and things are kind of dying and composting, out of that comes a newness. And so when I contemplated this idea of a new creation, a poem just came to my mind. One of Rumi's, Jalaluddin Rumi, was 13th century Persian, and for some reason, so many of his poems speak to me, so I'd like to share this one. I'd also like to, I usually don't like to say a lot about a poem. I like to just put it out there and let it sort of strike you where it may, but this one I feel merits just a little bit of introduction so you can have some context for it. So first of all, one thing to know about Rumi, like so many luminaries, he was really on a high level of consciousness, maybe awestruck or in a state of in his tracks most of the time. So when he spoke from a place of just spiritual consciousness. And he wasn't sitting at a desk composing poems. The poems that we have of his that have been translated at least twice to the rendition that you'll hear. In other words, first they were spoken in Farsi. Farsi was his native tongue. Farsi is a very melodic language, very beautiful. And when he spoke these truths, there were rhymes at the end and rhymes internally. And he had scribes that followed him around. He had perhaps like 100,000 followers that he was sort of their spiritual guide for. And so naturally there were scribes that were trying to keep up with what was coming out of his mouth. So in this poem, he's talking to one of his scribes, Hussam Chalebi. So this whole thing is Rumi describing to Hussam what he's noticing in this community. They had just finished like an all-night vigil, practice in Sufism. Now Sufism is interesting. It's a part of Islam, but it's a mystical branch, and what Rumi was really famous for was like having dialogue with all different faith traditions. In Turkey, it was right near the Silk Road, so there's not only all this commerce going on, but all these rich different spiritual traditions in dialogue. So they're gathered together all night in this practice, and these people are normal people like us. So they had families, they had jobs and things like that, but they dedicate this time to say, okay, I'm going to be with my spiritual community for the whole night. They stay up all night, they have a feast, and they eat, and then they do poems, and they have music, and then they pray and they meditate. And what Rumi is saying in this poem is like, all of us as a community have reached the level of consciousness for that which has created the universe. Okay, so that's the background. You hear the word friend in the poem. That's just another name in that tradition for God. And the other thing I want you to know is he refers to a prophet, Hallaj. And Hallaj was someone preceded him like 3 years, another Sufi, who said, "On Alak, I am the truth." So I just want you to know that. So the whole poem kind of makes sense for you. So it goes like this. So he's talking to his scribe. This we have now is not imagination. It is not grief or joy, not a judging state, or an elation, or a sadness. Those come and go. This is the presence that doesn't. It's dawn who saw. Here in the splendor of coral. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to stop. This line perplexed me forever. The splendor of coral. He's describing the beauty of sunrise in its color, beautiful coral color. Here in the splendor of coral, inside the friend, in the simple truth of what Hallaj said. What else could human beings want? When grapes turn to wine, they are wanting this. When the night sky pours by, it's really a crowd of beggars, and they all want some of this. This that we are now created the body cell by cell like bees building a honeycomb. The universe and the human body grew from this, not this from the body and the universe. It's dawn who saw. What else could human beings want? So I invite you, just take a moment now, quietly contemplating. You'll hear this bowl ring, just inviting you to go within, contemplating these words, contemplating this idea of a new creation, whatever that looks like in your spiritual path. So as the bell tolls, it's an invitation to bring your awareness back to this room, and perhaps bringing with it a smile, an affirmation of the depths of your being.
I'm going to play this song that it's a little mantra about getting us in the ultimate presence. And if you can sing along, the lyrics are quite simple and repetitive. It goes, now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. Now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. Now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. Now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. Now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. One more time. Now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. Now is all there is, and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have, and I will remember. Thanks, Jim Jones. And please welcome our Reverend Dr. Guy Williams.
Thank you. Oops. Walter's going to heckle me. All right, Walter, give it your best. I feel like I might just be a little loud, a little warm, maybe not. Joe, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. So, Craig mentioned that, that our quarterly theme is sort of based on a more traditional kind of calendar in the Middle East, whether it be in Persia, which they celebrate what's known as Megra, which is the beginning of the year. In Judaism, we're in what's known as the High Holy Days. Last week was Rosh Hashanah, and then Wednesday night is Yom Kippur. So it's also the celebration of a new year. But what is interesting in these traditions, it's not just that we celebrate like Happy New Year, but it's also kind of we celebrate Happy Birthday. And it's not just the birthday of the world, but it is said that it is the birthday of the universe. So we really begin to celebrate the initiation or the beginning of creation. And what I just kind of want to offer you now, obviously no one knows the day that the universe began, of course. But it's something to just kind of keep in mind. This, in the imagination, there's this idea of this incredible evolutionary experience that is visiting itself through us as becoming aware. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin says that we are evolution become conscious. We are how an awakening, intelligent universe is becoming self-aware. And as I was reflecting on that this week, I was thinking about something about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It is said in the traditional idea of Rosh Hashanah is it's not just the celebration of the new year, but it's said that on Rosh Hashanah, our fate for the year is written. And on Yom Kippur, which begins at sunset Wednesday night, it is sealed. And so it is said that this period is called a holy time because we're reflecting on how our life will be experienced based on the choices and endeavors that we participate in. Now, what I also want to say, and maybe this is a prelude to next week, is I don't want to approach this as some sort of fatalistic experience, kind of like, you step on a crack, you break your mother's back kind of thing, like, oh my God, I forgot to do something, light a candle or burn some incense or apologize to somebody, and here it is Yom Kippur, and my whole year is doomed. Because what we see in so many other traditions, including Judaism, including Islam, including Buddhism and Christianity, and all of them, there is also this idea, what the Christians call metanoia, which is this opportunity to change direction, or we call it grace, or we call it bhakti. There's different words for it, but what it says is there's no such thing as being too late. In fact, something that is attributed to the Buddha where he says, it doesn't matter how many times you forget, as long as you remember. And you can even forget after that, as long as you remember. So it's this concept of the Holy One, this that we call God, by whatever name we use, is the presence of unrelenting love. And what I like to say often, because I think it's something for us always to remember, that the truest thing about each and every one of us is that we are seen, we are known, and we are loved by the very intelligence and preciousness and power that brings all things into creation. And I've been kind of thinking this week, because I kind of do this time of year, I do it a lot, but this time of year, I think often in terms of this idea that there is a really interesting similarity between the theory or the story of the Big Bang and the stories that are told in Kabbalah. I think they kind of tell something very similar using different kinds of languages. In the Big Bang, what we know is somewhere in I think it was like 1986, is when they were able to trace through sound what they figured was the very beginning of where the Big Bang would have occurred, and it looks like the universe is expanding everywhere at one point in all directions everywhere. And it seems that 14 plus billion years ago, there was an event that draws out of something known as the singularity. And what that essentially means, and I would defer to Joe on this after service, is that the singularity is something in which our present laws of physics can't address. But there was an event of such power and energy that expanded out beyond our ability to measure heat. It was in keldons and in times that we can't even imagine, in billions of years. But there was this sort of great expansion and then contraction and then expansion out again. And in these billions of years, there was sort of this vast cosmic plasma of pure energy. And then what began to happen is there were fluctuations in this, temperatures, issues, and that created carbon. It created, what do you call this, periodic table of elements, thank you very much. Created elements, and then there were these vast explosions and, this violence of stars exploding and energy moving and crashing, and temperatures fluctuating, and that gave way to the stars, that gave way to planets, that gave way to a interesting little backwater planet in a galaxy long ago and far away, in a solar system that is probably easily overlooked by any kind of travelers, to this little planet here, to us having a conversation about, isn't this just friggin' amazing? And Kabbalah tells a story very similar of these vast vessels that are so filled with energy that they literally explode, and that this vastness, this energy, this Shekhinah, spreads across the known universe and then begins to cool, and ash begins to form, and there's something known as Tikkun Olam, which is to heal the universe, to heal the earth, to heal our lives. And that's our task, is to see the light, even if it appears to be covered in ash. It's to redeem, to heal, to be that presence. St. Teresa of Avila says it is that we are the ears, the eyes, the hands, and the feet of the divine. It is how the divine moves itself. And so whatever tradition we may look at, what we may find is a rhythm, a rhyme, because perhaps there's an echo in our soul that begins to kind of understand this and comprehend this in some way. I think that there's a couple things that I want to talk about that. One is this whole idea that, it's never too late. And what's interesting about Kabbalah, what's interesting about the Big Bang, which I think is interesting about them from a metaphysical conversation, is that creation happens not because of some predetermined plan, but by fluctuations, mistakes, errors, changes in things that can't be anticipated, and yet they happen, and there's a response from the universe in such a way that it creates that. And if you look at evolution, that's exactly what evolution is it's always a response to what is happening. It's a response to a weather change, of whatever the case may be, of something happen. And if we think about our own lives, because what we know is evolution is not an event that happened. Evolution is an experience that is ongoing. This isn't the final stop. We are here in a moment of unimaginable time. But here in this moment, we are aware. And us being aware means that we are at that stage of evolution where the universe is starting to awaken and become aware. Here on this little backwater planet, this kind of thing is happening. And how it happens is through each and every one of us. Because if you think about it, if you think about your life, the challenge was to think about a moment where beauty stopped you in your tracks. It was a metanoia. It was a change in consciousness. Whether it was the birth of a child or watching a storm or whatever the case may be, something shifted in us. And our lives have been different ever since. And sometimes those are positive things, like the birth of a child. Sometimes they're negative things, or what we consider negative, like a disease, or a divorce, or a loss of a job, or whatever the case may be. These things stop us in our tracks. And yet, we realize that something happens as a result of that. And here we are sitting telling the tale about it, and wherever we may be with this whole thing. And I also think, for myself as I'm sitting with this, one of the great mythologies, one of the great book of legends is the Bible. Now, I love the Gita, and anybody that knows me knows probably if I had such a thing as a personal scripture, it's Lord of the Rings. I don't make any mistake about that. But just as much, I love the Bible. And I think most people that are critical of the Bible are kind of ignorant of the Bible, because there's this idea going around that the Bible is, yes, inspired, as so much literature is inspired, whether that be the Gita, the Quran, or the Lord of the Rings, or poetry, or whatever, the stuff of Rumi. it can be inspired, meaning that the person or the persons who are writing this thing or experiencing these things are tapping into something that is incredibly transcendent. And what we know is when words fail us, art, beauty, poetry is the language that we use. And so Scripture can be inspired, and it doesn't mean it has to be inerrant. And I think that was one of the things that, we've had to make sacrifices in our evolution. We had to give up our prehensile tail. We only got 2 sets of teeth, and somehow or another in the West, we began to think that the Bible is inerrant, that we have to believe it word for word, and we don't. We can allow ourselves to be inspired by it and realize these are stories, these are legends, this is poetry written by people who are having different kinds of experiences. And it's okay to say, in this area right here, especially when it comes to things like physics, they're kind of off. Or when it comes to cultural things, maybe it's different here in 2025 than it was wherever that may be. But in either case, there's something about these creation stories, these beautiful poetry about these stories that talk about very differently than other creation myths, is that this creator takes incredible delight in its creation. It's unlike, say, like the Egyptians where there's a great battle, or the Greeks, where one god is eating the children of his children, and one, castrates him, and all these other kinds of things. And Egypt, someone takes the body and spreads it, and that's, there's all these wild stories, and they're interesting. And again, no one's saying that they're true or real. And this story takes place in a garden. And a garden in which the Holy One who was creating it is delighted in its creation and says, this is good, this is good, this is good. When it comes to humanity, he doesn't say this is good. He says, it's not good to be alone, but then this is good. But it doesn't stop there, because I think we have been conditioned in our mind to think that in that creation myth, we're supposed to believe that humans are the pinnacle of this creation that is taking place. But it isn't, because something else happens after us. Takers? God creates the Sabbath. The Sabbath is even more of the evolutionary experience than humanity itself. It's as if the Sabbath wasn't created for us because we tell the story that God rested. Well, how can God rest? Seriously. How hard is it to create a universe if you're God? But it's not so much that God rested, but God took pleasure in its creation and enjoyed it. And the Sabbath is a vision. It's an idea. It's a template. It's a lure of saying this experience where I can enjoy my life, that I can be free of any forms of trappings, but that the act of the evolutionary direction of the universe is joy, enjoyment, at-one-ment, togetherness. Because one of the things that I'm thinking sometimes I might want to do a book study on the book of Genesis, because I teach it in the school of ministry. I might as well talk about it here. But this idea that because everything is good, nothing is not good in this creation. And because everything is good, everything can be enjoyed. Now I'm not going to get real Pollyanna and say, earthquakes or terrible acts that humanity perpetrates and other people are good. They're not. But because I want to get into that in just a second. But this idea, what if our vision of living on the earth was one that we didn't see ourselves opposed to anything, but participating in everything? How would our relationship to the earth be if we saw ourselves as stewards of a garden as opposed to being separate from it And what if we looked at how we tend a garden as opposed to what we can extract from it? What would it be like to have an economy, a politic, that was based not on separation or of limited resources, but rather on a sense of there's a renewing and there's a togetherness, and no one or nothing is left out, and that we're all part of it. And so I think what the creation story tells us then is this idea of what is possible, a Sabbath, a universe that exists at Sabbath, not at rest, but in enjoyment, not at war, not pushing against, but participating in. And I think it's a pretty cool imagination to have. And I think, but we do get to this idea of the things that work and don't work. We get to this idea of good and evil and how that is talked about. But what I want to offer before I even go there is perhaps a correction of those two words. In the Arabic language, in the Aramaic, which was spoken by Jesus, and in the ancient Semitic languages, there isn't a word for good, and there isn't a word for evil. They don't exist. The closest that they have is ripe or unripe. So here's the thought. St. Paul says in one of his epistles that even evil can be turned to good for those who are connected to the Holy One. Another way of saying that is even what is unripe can become ripe. Even what is evil, even what is unripe can become ripe. And so when we look at the world and we see true evil in the world, shooters, genocides, fascism, you name it, these things, we can look out. It is easy for us to say, this is evil. But what if we said instead, what I'm seeing is unripe. It hasn't reached its fulfillment yet. And then again, going back to this Hebrew idea of tikkun olam, to heal what is broken, to nurture. In the Hebrew Bible, there's all this imageries about gardening, and you don't punish plants, you work with plants. And if the fruit is unripe, you are patient with it to bring it to that sense of fullness. It's about participation. And I think what happens is we lose that, and we have these good and evil ideas and all this kind of stuff, and we get lost in that. Not only do we get lost in that, we get distracted by it. We get distracted by it so much that it becomes part of our consciousness. It becomes part of how we see things. It becomes our perception, and then we are participating in it. Eugene Therakin, who is a philosopher that I like, he wrote this. He says, "We have forgotten what medieval thinkers knew instinctively. You must not look at evil until your mind is emparadized or enraptured by it. Evil will break you and corrupt you. We believe in raising the awareness about hell, but not paradise. Hell does not prepare you to face hell. It prepares you to become part of it." So let me say this another way. You must not look at what is unripe and remember the garden of the tree of what is ripe and unripe, good and evil. You should not pay attention, focus yourself on what is unripe, lest your mind becomes enraptured by that which is unripe, and it corrupts you because you're just caught into this idea and spinning with it in our perception and our neural pathways, and everything starts organizing like, whoa, whaley, how bad. And it doesn't prepare us to do good. In fact, it has a withering experience on the soul. Dr. Rabbi Abraham Heschel, who was a public theologian and philosopher, he escaped the Holocaust. He taught He taught at Princeton. Brilliant man. He's one of my favorite authors. But one of the things that he says about this, and I just lost my train of thought on this. Oh, it'll come back to me. Oh, yes. He said that, and he wrote this in the 50s. He said that the greatest I'm losing the word, ecumenical. The greatest, largest ecumenical movement in Western culture is nihilism. Think about that, nihilism. That sense of why should I care? It's broken, it can't be fixed. It's the loss of vision. It's a withering effect. It's a level of cynicism that gives rise to all kinds of maladies. And so it is important for us as metaphysicians not to become entrapped by the Palantir, by the thing that is unripe to the point that our soul begins to become unripe. You know, next week I won't talk about it next week, but I want to talk about it a lot, is in Lord of the Rings is Denethor. Denethor, like Saruman, they are people who have access to something called the Palantir, remember that word, because in that their whole vision is distorted and they become captive by the very force they're hoping to oppose. So, what do we do about that? What do you do about that? What do I do about that? There's something interesting about, so I want to offer you a part of John Keats' famous poem, An Ode to a Grecian Urn. And in his last lines of this, just about the end of the poem, he says this: beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all you need to know on earth, and all that needs to be known. This is kind of like from Plato, is that we can recognize truth through beauty, and that all truth has a level of beauty to it. But again, you know, one of the things that I see or I sit with in Western thinking, especially Western spiritual evolution, that's very different from, say, the Eastern Orthodox. In the West, we have invented all these wild ideas like atonement and substitutionary indulgence, all these kinds of things. The East doesn't have that. The East holds this idea in the Orthodox of beauty. In fact, Fyodor Dostoevsky says this. He says that I believe that beauty will save the world. And there's a metaphysical truth in that. Because if we can look at and see the beauty of creation, you guys all said it here at the very beginning of service, it transforms you. And the more we allow ourselves to become transformed through beauty, whether that be, you know, a memorial service of crows. Interestingly enough, a group of crows are called a murder of crows, but a celebration of life. I know that whales do this as well. Elephants do this, they've seen. They actually have memorials. If we can allow that, or the birth of a child, if we can remember that, or the beauty of our garden, or something that our pet has done, or wherever we experience beauty, look on that. Look on that. Let your attention be on the good, the true, and the beautiful, and it will transform you, me, us. And then something else happens without us even having to do anything, because you've experienced it, I'm sure, because I have too. It's this, is that when we are in that moment of flow, in that experience of beauty, something changes in us that it catches other people's attention. What's up with you today? What's up with me today is that I am in beauty. I am in beauty. You know, there's that beautiful Hopi prayer that says, Beauty is before me, beauty is behind me, beauty is above me, beauty is below me, beauty is on my left hand, beauty is on my right hand. I am on the pollen path. I am on the path of growth. I am on the path of fullness. I am on the path of ripening. So let us be ripe fruit. And we become ripe fruit by where our attention is. You know, in the Divine Comedy, Dante Alighieri writes, you know, that time is love. And what he means by that is no matter what you say, what you spend the most time with is the thing you really love. And the thing you really love is the thing that you become. If you read the Inferno, every character in hell is simply trapped into the thing that they spent the most time, most attention in love with. So let our love be on the beauty, and we become the beautiful, the ripe, the fullness. And when we become that, we are giving a micro-treatment to the planet itself. Pierre Teilhard says to trust the long work of God. We want the immediate. We want to control it. But a controlled world, as Hartmut Rosa says, is a dead world. A living world is chaotic and organic, and it takes time. It is the opportunity to be in a garden or the victim of a machine. Thank you.
Here's some metaphysics from Fallbrook's own Jason Mraz. Well, you dawned on me and you bet I felt it. I tried to be chill, but you're so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back. Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my bestest, and nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon this again my turn to win some or learn some, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. La la la. Ooh. Hey, yeah. Well, open up your mind, see like me. Open up your plans and then you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Listen to the music of the moment, people dance and sing. We're just one big family, and it's our God-forsaken right to be loved, love, 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 love. So I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm sure there's no need to complicate. Our time is short. This is our fate. I'm yours. Well, I've been spending way too long checking my tongue in the mirror, bending over backwards just to try to see it clearer, but my breath fogged up the glass. So I drew a new face and I laughed. I guess what I was saying is there ain't no better reason to rid yourself of vanity. Just go with the season is what we aim to do. Our name is our virtue, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours, there's no need to complicate. Our time is short, this is our fate. Will open up your mind, see like me. Open up your plans and then you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find the sky is yours. No, please don't, please don't, please don't. There's no need to complicate, because our time is short. This is our fate. I'm yours. Jason Mraz from Fallbrook. Thanks, Walter. Fellow mammal. He understands my nervous system.
Huh?
He understands my nervous system.
He does.
Throw your mic, I think we're done.
You're done on that one.
Wow, 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 wow. Reverend Guy, wow, what a weaver you are.
Thank you.
I found that talk completely understandable and weaving. That's not a diss on you. That's limitations of my own mind. But it just wove together so many things I feel and want to embody every day. And wow, I was very, very inspired by that and just going, yes, yes, yes. So I hope you felt that way too. And Lee and Jim, it seemed to be perfectly woven in with this talk. And so beautiful, thank you. And thank you all for coming. I trust fully that you felt some inspiration, some guidance, whatever you want to call it. You came here for a reason, and I know you got it, even if you don't know you got it. And so when we receive inspiration, when we're spiritually fed, what do? We just feel that flow of life through us, and we want to give back. So that's what this time is about. If you have anything you'd like to donate to the center, this is our time of conscious giving. There is no pressure. It just comes from the heart. And those of you who give in that way, we just say thank you, we honor you, and so it is.
There's people coming through. People like you and you and you. You didn't have to, but you do. You keep coming through.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm singing to you. Yeah, you. Thank you. There's people coming through. People like you. People coming through.
Thank you. I love when you do that song. It is, because we have two dogs. We have a golden retriever, and then we have another one who's a force of nature. He's a Pyrenees German Shepherd mix, but he doesn't howl. But the golden retriever howls, and that song always reminds you of him. I love to howl. So often Nikolai and I will have howling together. We do a duet. Yeah, Rolo looks on and probably does something scary or loving or whatever the case. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys there in the virtual world. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Steve, for sitting there at the flight deck, keeping us moving and going and grooving and making us all sound good. And I saw Meredy and Matt were greeters this morning. Any other greeters out there? I saw them. Very good. Henry was greeting. All right. And Mike and Ann are in the kitchen. And Julieta is in the kitchen, so give them some thanks as well. Let's see, Noreen and Sherry are in the gift shop today, so thank them. Andrea running around doing all that she was doing. The practitioners, Liz was here setting up flowers. If I have Paul, you ring the bell better than anybody, by the way. You really do a good job. And always, 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 you guys, thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful. And Craig, it's great spending time on the platform with you. And all the things, if I have missed anybody, it is an error in my thinking and not an intention of unripeness. So be patient with me. So with all of that, we got some good things coming down. Next week we got Jim and I. On the 11th we got Fairview Canyon, and is that what they're called? Fairview Canyon, yeah. And the raffle tickets that are going on, the gift store is going on, youth and family is going on, all kinds of good things going on. So with that, let us pray. And so, again, referring to Abraham Joshua Heschel, may this day fill us with amazement and wonder and surprise. May we encounter the beautiful. May the beautiful astound us. May it awaken within us a sense of reverence. And may that reverence bring us to the realization that we are part of something greater than ourselves, awakening within us a desire for service. And so we bless it all. We give thanks. We let it be. And so it is. All right, Lee, take us home.
All right. There was so much talk about stars before, all the beauty that we can get from looking up at the stars. So we're going to play my song called Dancing to the Stars. Out of nowhere, you were right there, stood right by me. I knew your face. Yeah, you got my back like a jetpack. You boost me up like outer space. And we're dancing through the stars. That's how it came to be. Won't you dance through the stars with me? Hey, we're dancing through the stars. That's all we really do. Wanna dance through the stars with you. We're designed to think to survive. You help me zoom out when you arrive. We're the same things, all just starlings. My darling earthlings, don't you feel alive? 'Cause we're dancing through the stars, that's how it came to be. Won't you dance through the stars with me? Hey, we're dancing through the stars, that's all we really do. Wanna dance through the stars with you. Everywhere we go, we're dancing through the stars. Everyone we know, they're dancing through the stars. Every kiss we steal, everything we feel, we're dancing through the stars. We are. Why am I here? I've got an idea. The music I hear when I'm with you. Let's get working. Pull back that curtain so the people hurting can hear it too. 'Cause we're dancing through the stars. That's how it came to be. Won't you dance through the stars with me? Hey, we're dancing through the stars. That's all we really do. Wanna dance through the stars with you. Out of nowhere, you were right there, stood right by me. I knew your face. Yeah, you're my hero. T-0. We're taking off now, back to our place. And we're dancing through the stars. That's how it came to be. Won't you dance through the stars with me? Yes, we're dancing through the stars. That's all we really do. Wanna dance through the stars with you. Everywhere we go, we're dancing through the stars. Everyone we know, we're dancing through the stars. Every kiss we steal, everything we feel, we're dancing through the
are. Sing it. Here we are, we are, we are. Here we are, we are, we are. Here we are, we are, we are. One more time. Here we are, we are, we are. Thank you. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you, Walter.